lot of people on crew boards are still on Mick's side. That's noteworthy. Because it's been like 6 months or something since Mick was fired or left the band and got screwed out of 25% for 5% and said if he took 7%, they'd let him walk. But people are still on Mick's side. And Mick's new record is sounding hella cool. I mean, a guy that, according to the band, was losing his ability to play guitar. A guy who, according to some members of the band, was being taken advantage by his management, basically making him out to be a little bit more than a vegetable, is writing some really good music, giving some really good in-depth interviews, something you guys don't do. You don't do in-depth. You do 2 or 3 minutes, but you don't go in-depth like Mick did. And he's suing you guys. So again, I'm just saying it's interesting because a lot of times people will get behind a cause when that cause first comes out, e.g. MICK MARS, the quietest member of the band, the one that wasn't like out there smashing hotel rooms and, getting arrested and marrying, whatever. He was the quiet one. He was the one that never left. He was arguably the most loyal one. So, of course, when, he got screwed over, a lion's share of Crueheads came out. That was expected. But what wasn't expected is that some 4, 5, 6 months later, that lion's share of Crew fans have not and seemingly will not leave MICK Mars' side, meaning that Nikki, Tommy, and Vince are seen as backstabbing traitors. It's not like when Vince was fired or left. It's not like when Tommy left. It's not like when Nikki left to do Brides of Destruction. Mick got screwed. And screwed after 40 plus years of service. Screwed as an ailing man who has to endure pain every day to get up and live. Who did touring obligations well beyond anything that could have been reasonably expected. And then at that point got screwed and fired. Didn't get screwed and fired in 1992 when he could have easily done another career like David Lee Roth. Not screwed when the leader of the band goes to do a side project, or screwed when the drummer of the band decides he wants to be a rapper. Not that kind of screwed. Screwed when he was 71 years of age, the last leg of his life. Screwed then, after a life of service, being the most loyal member of the band, getting screwed then. So they could hire John 5, a guy who didn't suffer it with them, who didn't pay his dues, who didn't go through the 90s and decline and coming back. That guy does not deserve to share a stage with Motley Crue. That guy is not even worthy of being the touring guitarist of Motley Crue. John, I love you. John Lowry, phenomenal guitarist. But you had to know that when you came into this situation, you were going to receive a lot of backlash from a lot of pissed off Crueheads. Not pissed off at you, just pissed off that you're even there. And I know that sounds really messed up because you're a really good guy. But you're there and you're being used as a replacement to a guy that gave 4 decades of his life to Motley Crue. No matter how gracious you are and respectful you are, no matter what a nice guy you are, you have been put in a position where, unfortunately, you're going to be on the receiving end of backlash. So it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. It's one of the most heartless things I've ever seen. And that's why people like Carmine Appice came out. Stephen Pearcy, who tours with Vince, came out and was none too kind to Vince, Nikki, and Tommy. Don Dawkins has talked about this. I mean, a lot of people have talked about this. People are mad and people are on Mick's side. And it's not just because it's new news. It's been like half a year and they're still on MICK Mars' side. And that has got to resonate and really, really just piss off Nikki Sixx. And we don't even know what the outcome of the lawsuit is going to be. I suspect that the lawsuit is going to go Mick's way. because I don't think they can take his ownership interest away just because he won't tour. And even if their contracts say that, you can say a lot of things in the contract, and some of those things are not legally enforceable. So even if the contract says it, even if they sign to it, it may not be legally enforceable. So I don't think they can take it away. And who gets, if you would have taken the 7% deal, okay, then who takes the remainder? If you would have taken the 5% deal, who would take the remainder? Would those three guys absorb his ownership just because he won't tour? That doesn't seem right. It doesn't, especially when Motley Crue owns its music, owns its masters. I mean, they didn't get the remasters like a lot of bands have to do, create a new product out of an existing one with some minor changes. They actually have their masters. They've got all the classic albums. They've got Home Sweet Home. They've got Wild Side. They've got Girls, Girls, Girls that you hear in every strip club in America and around the world. They got to pay to play that. So because Mick won't tour, now he gets his share diminished from 25 to 5%. That seems totally legally unenforceable, not to mention egregious, not to mention bad faith, not to mention a lot of things that I would argue. Even if the parties consented, it still seems legally unenforceable, especially because it benefits Nikki, Tommy, and Vince. It's not like they all take a hit. It benefits some and it hurts others. I mean, and it's not the guy that, didn't want to tour. He had a medical reason for not touring. I just think, look, I'm just saying, I don't know where this lawsuit's going to go, but I mean, if you ask me just on a moral perspective, it seems totally illegitimate and unenforceable.